frontier. This is Football Daft with Stephen Purden,
midfield dynamo and average actor,
Chris Toll,
target man, suspicious character,
and
With the top end of Stevenson, Greeno!
Mate, you're doing the traffic and all that, and see if there's crashes on the road, man. Who would they phone?
Well, basically, if you ever come across any road traffic accidents, you should phone 0808 17 17 700 every morning on the Go Radio Breakfast Show. However, if you have been involved...
No, you start with the police first. Right, Grado. Don't... They're a crash. Phone Grado. Fucking hell.
Right, well, aye. As I say, once everything's safe, once everybody's secure, there's no persons trapped, then you can start reporting it to the relevant authorities. If it is your vehicle that has been involved in the road traffic accident, unfortunately, you're going to have to deal with the insurance. And the best place for you to go to deal with insurance is G4 Claims, because G4 Claims are absolutely bloody fantastic. They sponsor the show. We think they're brilliant. And they make it a lot easier for you. They're going to provide you with complete accident management support that you require. They'll recover their costs from the at-fault party. They're going to sort you out with a like-for-like vehicle replacement. They're also going to organise your vehicle to be repaired at one of our approved body shops, and it will be returned back to you. Should your vehicle be deemed a write-off, they will recover the pre-accident value for your car, write you a big fat cheque, and best of all, it won't cost you a goddamn penny, as they charge the at-fault insurance direct. G4 Claims don't cold call. They don't buy data. And once they've processed your claim, your insurance will remain unscathed. Best of all, Nicole and the team over there, they won't take your case on unless they think they can help you. So, if you've been involved in a road traffic accident or know someone that has, get on to G4 Claims on 01698 767 172. That's 01698 767 172. Get them on the old web at notatfaultclaim.com or find them on the social media, G4 Claims Limited. G4 Claims, not at fault claims.
Made easy. Let's welcome to the Football Daft a man who arrived in Scottish football in 2006 with Hibs. He went on to become a hero at Easter Road after captaining the club to their first bit of silverware in 16 years. He is currently a coach at Middlesbrough. It's Rob Jones. Thanks for joining us, mate.
No, pleasure.
How's it going at Middlesbrough? How's things?
Okay, well, obviously, with there being lockdown, it's been quite a few months since we've been in the building. So I hopefully return next week to do a bit with the under-14s. So I enjoy it. It's good. Gets me out of the house. Gets me on the football pitch, which is where I want to be.
Brilliant, mate. Brilliant. And then we're looking just through here, man. So just looking back on your career, mate, you started your career in non-league with the likes of Spennymoor and Gateshead. At that time, you were also working as a teacher. What did you teach?
I worked in a primary school, so I taught. It was a mainstream and special needs primary school, so I taught the special needs children to swim. Obviously, there's a big hydrotherapy pool there. That was my main job, and then I taught the whole school PE.
Aye.
So I was probably the first school coach, if you'd like, where basically you get the kids from the classroom, go and teach them the PE curriculum, give them back, and then go and do your other job. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed doing that as well as me part-time.
Brilliant.
Oh, were you a scary teacher?
No. I was quite laid back, to be honest.
Right.
Every now and again, you would get one kid who's causing chaos, which you had to deal with. But no, overall, it was a lovely school, lovely, well-mannered kids.
Would any of them turn up to the games and shout abuse at you or anything like that?
No, definitely not.
No chance, man. The size in, mate.
That's what I was thinking, I know.
Rob, see, he's a man like my good self that's got a bit of height about him. I would have thought, centre half, definitely. But did you start your career up front?
Yeah. From the age, it's funny because I didn't really. I played football at school, in primary school, but I didn't even really play for a team. Not until I probably got to first year senior school. so it'll be year 7. I was mad into my judo and all that sort of stuff, so that took priority. And funnily enough, I was supposed to get graded for judo because you get belts, don't you, to the colours and all that sort of stuff. So I was due to get graded, but we all slept in, so we missed the grading. And then my friend came and picked me up and took me to football. If that hadn't happened, who knows where my path would have led. But I got the football bug, and that was it really. But yeah, I was a footballer. I played centre forward from the age of probably 10, 11 to 15 when I left York City.
That's brilliant.
At Stockport, you worked under Carlton Palmer. I just want to know, Rob, who's taller, you or Carlton Palmer?
Or me all day.
Carlton Palmer's a wee bit of a personal hero of mine. I'm a Leeds fan, so obviously Leeds and Carlton Palmer go hand in hand. What was you like to work under?
Well, Carlton was great, and I'll forever be indebted to Carlton because he was the one that gave me my chance. He never watched me play. It was a guy called John Hollins who used to play for Chelsea. He was the one that came out and watched me when I was playing for Gateshead, and I signed the next day. So forever indebted to the man. He was brilliant for me. His tenure at the club didn't last as long as he would have liked, but that was my start in football, and it was a great club. He was a great individual, a great coach, and I would like to have worked with him a lot longer than what I did, but unfortunately that's the way football goes.
So you got a move to Grimsby, is that right?
Yeah, Sammy McElroy came in at Stockport, and I knew quite quickly I wasn't his cup of tea. He wanted to sign somebody else and give him my money, so he told me that I could leave. At that point, I could have gone back to Accrington Stanley, but I'd only just come out of the part-time football. I didn't want to go back into it, so I got the opportunity to go to Grimsby with Russell Slade, and I had 2 years there. First year wasn't great, full of injuries. It was difficult, really difficult. But the second year went like a dream, and then obviously at the end of it, the Hibs bought me for a good amount of money, and the rest is history, as they say.
Did you know much about Hibs and Scottish football in general, Rob, when they came?
Not as much as what I know now, but I knew about the big 5-6 clubs up in Scotland. Obviously, it's on TV and all that sort of stuff. So you knew where they were, you knew where they were, but you don't really get to understand the club until you actually step foot in it. It's difficult. If you're not a fan, then you don't understand the football club. But once you step foot in the building, then you realise how big the club actually is. I remember the taxi parking up at the main reception when I went in to meet Tony, and it's just the main building. It overawes you, but it's enormous. And it was just the feeling going in was something special.
It's funny, like you're saying, if you don't know about Scottish football, then you don't realise how big it is. Did you go back and tell people down south, honestly, you have no idea? It's actually there's Hibs, there's Hearts, there's not just Rangers and Celtic. There's a big. Did you defend the Scottish game a wee bit once you come up here?
I think it's not so much you defend it. I think you have to educate people more about it. English football is English football, and that will be the way it is forever and a day. But Scottish football is a bit of a different identity to English football. And like I said before, you've got to be in it to understand it. And it's a great setting to play football. It's a great standard. Some great football clubs, some great footballers, by the way. And it's about educating them. And there's players that I've played with down south who have gone up into Scotland. Gary Hooper, I played with him at Scunthorpe. I was one who spoke to him about it. He used to pick my brains about the Scottish football and Celtic and whatnot, and he did very well in his time up the road. And there's been a few more, so I will always sing very highly of Scottish football.
Aye.
No, that's brilliant. Sorry, Stephen, that is brilliant because you do get a lot of English pundits and stuff like that, and most recently, Gary Breen talking about how Shane Duffy's fucked up his career by coming to Celtic. These people have never set foot in Scottish football, you know what I mean? And they shouldn't have the opinion that they have of it because, like we said there a minute ago, they don't actually really know what they're talking about. You know, Scottish football is blood and thunder, 100 miles an hour. there's a lot of players, good players down in England that have come up to Scotland and haven't been able to cut the mustard. You know,
No.
so
Yeah.
it's the sooner that people get more educated, like you said, Rob, definitely the better, in my opinion.
Well, the Scottish football that put me on the map. My name became a household name because of Hibs. It's as simple as that, and I'll be forever indebted to that. If I had to come up to Scotland, who knows what would have happened? You don't know. You haven't got a crystal ball, so it's important that you live in the here and now, and you take stock of where you've been and what you've done.
Do you still keep track of Hibs and stuff? Do you still keep an eye on the results and stuff, Rob?
Always.
Had a good start to the season, eh?
Yeah, I was up 2 weeks ago for the Aberdeen game. I did the
Half-time draw? Half-time draw?
I did the Hibs.
Was he punters?
only sell 12 tickets and it's to all the away players.
I did Hibs TV, so it was good. But I try and get up 4 or 5 times a year. But because it's a club that's really close to me. So
you're obviously a bit of a cult hero with the fans as well. You're not a cult hero, a huge hero for the Hibs fans as well. Because when you come up here, the first season, man, you scored in the cup final, didn't you? And helped them lift the League Cup. So it's, they're always going to welcome you with open arms, I would think.
Yeah, I have a really good relationship with supporters. Even when I left for footballing reasons, and that was it. No, whenever I come back up, it's a very warm reception. It's nice to come back to people that really get you and understand you and know why you do the things you do. So,
right.
So it's funny because you were on.
On you go, Grado.
I was just going to say, he's doing Hibs TV with the former presenter of Football Daft. Would I be right? Were you doing Hibs TV with David Tanner, big man?
Yes, I was. Yeah.
Aye. How's he getting on?
Good guy.
He's all right.
Yeah.
Was he talking about me now?
Not this time. Maybe next time.
Rob, sorry to interrupt again, right? But there's something I've always wanted to ask you, right? See, when John Collins came in, there's a rumour that he walked into the dressing room, whipped his top off, and says, "This is what I expect for you." Is that true, or is it a lot of shite?
Well, if you're asking me, it's a lot of shite because if he did it, I wasn't in the room. So,
right, that's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
But what was your relationship like with John Collins then?
It was fine. I think looking at it from the outside in, there was a lot of players I think still pining for Tony because Tony was brilliant, and I only had him for 3.5 months. He's probably one of the best minds I've ever had, and that means something. The fact that you didn't really get to know him as well as you would like, but he just had an air about him, Tony. And when he walked in a room, everybody stopped and listened and took note and acknowledged the guy. I think it was tough for John when he first came in because the young boys had been with Tony now for probably 2 years, and Tony had guided them through and helped them. Tony never shouted, never raised his voice. It was always in a mild-mannered way, and that's how he got across to the boys. So I think some of them were pining for him a little bit.
A bit of a culture shock going from Tony Mowbray to John Collins, I take it then, 2 completely different characters, eh?
Yeah, I think so. I think some of the young boys had never been told what to do before, if you know what I'm saying. And it was always like almost like a night and day situation. So I took some of them a little while to get used to it.
What was his training like? What was on the training field? What was he like, John Collins? Was he quite demanding?
Oh, training was good. But at the end of the day, you're out on the pitch playing football and get paid for it. It should be irrelevant who's coaching you. You should want to do it as much as you can, as often as you can. But training was good. He sometimes he joined in. Sometimes he'd stand and watch from the side. But no, training was good. It was always at a high tempo. He'd always felt tired at the end of it. And to be fair, the football we played from the time he came in was a bit more total football. So we all had to change, especially me. I wasn't really a footballer with the ball at my feet. I had to develop into some sort of player who's comfortable with ball at his feet and starting tacks off. So it was a change for everybody, really.
Right.
So I mean that was a really good Hibs team that you played with. Your Scott Browns, your Kevin Thompsons, Whitakers, when you went on about Fletcher there just for the stuff for the Patreon. Obviously, you said you need to be in Scottish football to understand it, but were you really surprised at the standard of these players at Hibs?
Well, when I came in, I'd only had 10 days off because I played in the playoff final for Grimsby against Cheltenham 10 days before. So it was quite a whirlwind and quick for me. And it was quite quick to actually get to understand not just Scottish football, but the Scottish players themselves. And I remember the first training session, because we were in Europe that year. So it was quite a quick turnaround for me. And I was quite taken aback by the standard of individuals. When I did come up, you've got David Murphy, who went to Birmingham, Whittaker, who departed, Chris Killen up top with Fletch. You had Guillaume Bouzlin, who's got the best first touch I've ever seen in my entire life. Scott Brown, Kevin Thompson. So you looked at it from that point of view, you're thinking, wow, like I alluded to earlier, there was lots of very, very young good footballers with abundance of talent.
See when you were in training, you played fives. Did you ever have to play against Benji? Because that guy was a box of tricks, wasn't he, man?
Benji was a good kid, but if you walloped him, he disappeared. So that was always my motto: kick him early and he would disappear.
So after John Collins departs, Rob, one of our former guests we've had in the show, Big Mixu, he comes in. What was he like to work under?
Mixu was great. Mixu at Donald Park. I haven't spoken to Mixu for a while, but I speak to Donald Park quite often. Donald's a little bit my mentor from my coaching pathway. So whenever I do my badges, I come up to Scotland. Obviously, Donald's left the Scottish education now, but when I came up, he was brilliant for me, and he's always at the end of the phone. But they were both great. Mixu was Mixu. You knew when you're on the wrong side of him, and you tried not to do that. But no, he was.
Like, that says a lot. A guy your size being a wee bit feared of Mixu. He did come across as if he would batter fuck out you when he was on the show earlier on.
No, Mixu was a good guy, and again he got the club. If you know what I'm saying, we talk about people who've been in Scottish football and people who haven't, but he understood the club and he understood what the club wanted and where he wanted to go and how he wanted to play and what the fans wanted and all that sort of stuff. So he knew what he needed to do quite early on. But no, he was very straightforward. He knew what he wanted. Donald Park was great for him. He was great for us as a group and as a unit. And we did all right. I think if we had time again, we may have changed a few things. But you cannot affect the past. You can only influence the future.
Exactly.
Was it frustrating for you, mate? You know, you were talking about Stephen Whittaker left, but also you had Brown and Killen and Kevin Thompson. Was that frustrating? A lot of times when Hibs players would leave the team.
No, I think it was more of an inevitable because they were that good. And if it had gone sideways, then it may well have become a frustration on my point of view because you're thinking, well, why is he going there when this club's better than what the one he's going to? But they went for an awful lot of money as a group. And I think Scott Brown's fee, he paid for the training ground. So if you look from that point of view, the club still has to earn revenue and box that way. But no, you never begrudge a player for moving on to pastures new as long as those pastures new are up the ladder rather than down.
So tell me this one then, right? Stephen and Grado, you can close your ears for this one if you want, right? So we're at Easter Road and Rangers are beating Hibs and the Rangers fans start singing, "We're going to sign Scott Brown." Now, all the Hibs players must have thought, "No, he's fucking him, eh?" Because we know exactly where Scott Brown's going. So what was the chat like after that?
I think a few of them took the piss out of him, to be honest, because I think like you said, we all knew he wasn't going to Rangers.
I didn't know that.
I knew he wasn't going to Rangers. I think conversations had been had and questions had been answered with regard to what Scott Brown was doing. Obviously, remember that Scott Brown nearly went in January window, and he stayed until the end of the cup final. But no, I knew Scott was going to go to Celtic. I know not Newcastle came in at the last minute, didn't they? With a outrageous bid at the back end. I think he'd been at Celtic a week, and Newcastle offered double his money, I think, to go there. But no, I think that it was all done and dusted quite early.
Wait, did Newcastle come in for Scott Brown after he had signed for Celtic?
Yes, they did. Yeah.
I didn't know that. No, I didn't know that. Here we go. A breaking exclusive for Football Daft Troops. Right, so tell me this one then. How much of a nightmare was it playing in front of Big Eve Macalambi?
Well, he was. To be fair, he was nearly as tall as me, wasn't he? I think
he was massive, man.
That'll be why the ball went through his legs so often.
He was a bit wider than me. But I think it was tough for him. He was a young kid coming up from London. I think all his family and friends were in London. He was quite close to them. So it was quite difficult for him, I think, to start with, coming up, and then this expectation, because ever since I came up, there was always grumblings about the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper does this, the goalkeeper does that. What about this one? What about that one? So there was always grumblings about that side of it. But to be fair, he had his good days. He had his indifferent days. I don't know where he is now, to be honest. But no, he was a nice kid, but just young really.
At the end of that season, Rob, you were linked to a move to Leeds, and reports say you were raging. Hibs turned it down. How close did that move actually come to happening?
No, not so close. I think there was discussion at that point between my agent and I think it was Dennis Wise at the time, who was Leeds manager. I don't think it really got off the ground, to be honest. And the fact that people saying I was raging, what could I be raging about? There was nothing to be raging about, to be honest. There was nothing concrete. A bid hadn't gone into from Leeds to Hibs to say we wanted to display. It hadn't gone in. It didn't even get that far. I think it was a conversation between obviously Dennis Wise and my agent at the time, and that's as far as it got, because it never really got off the ground. So for people to say that I was raging about not being able to go was so far off the mark, because it didn't really get off the mark.
Aye.
Was there not talk of you moving to a couple of other clubs? I think when you moved on to Scunthorpe, there was the option for Nottingham Forest, and I think it was Derby was the other one. Don't quote me on that, but was that, how hard was it to choose between those two teams, and was it as hard as when you had to play against Messi?
The window opened. Well, just before the window opened, it was Colchester and Paul Lambert. I think he'd offered 100 grand and he got thrown out the door. No chance. They wanted
that might have been a blessing in disguise, though, because Lambert moved on pretty quickly after that, you know. So
he went to Norwich after that, didn't he? So it was a difficult one. But no, the Nottingham Forest one was close, a lot closer than most. And I'm being brutally honest, I would like to have gone to Nottingham Forest at that point. They were struggling in the Championship at that time, and they needed the centre half. Billy Davies was the manager, so obviously he knew Scottish football really well. But again, they didn't come to an agreement with the two clubs, and the chairman and Mick Sue said no, not for sale right now, and the discussions were had closer towards the summer.
Just to let you know, Macalambi played with Wickham up until last year, mate.
Oh, did he?
Three appearances. Tell us about the game against Barcelona at Murrayfield. Then, did you get MD's shirt at the end of the game?
I took I don't do shirts, never have.
I can't imagine you doing that.
No.
Aye. You're like too
but I took my two little boys. They wanted one, so I took. I think he was bought called Caceres or something. He signed for Southampton 2 years ago, centre half. I never heard of him.
Oh, aye.
It was just a memento for my little boys, and they've got it up. It's been framed and it's up in one of the rooms. But
that's class.
No, it was more of a surreal game, to be honest. You start off the game with Henry and Messi to deal with. Then Henry goes off and you get Samuel Eto'o. And then he moves out wide and the young boy Bojan came on. So you looked around as if to say, when are you ever going to leave me alone? And it was impossible. No, it was sensational. What what an occasion to be involved in. Not many people can sit there and say he played against Lionel Messi. So,
Did he score that day?
Who, Messi?
Aye.
Messi got a hat-trick.
All right then.
Oh,
my next point was going to be, well, not many people can say that they played against Messi and kept a clean sheet, but a hat-trick's nearly as good, isn't it?
no, nearly as good. Three carbon copy goals he scored. Cut in from the right-hand side, whipped it in top bins each time. It was against Paul Hanlon was making one of his debuts.
Paul Hanlon, was he?
And he had Lionel Messi.
Oh, imagine that, right, man, you're going to make your debut, right, who be playing? I'm not well, I can't come in today. Right, so Derek Riordan rejoined the club. We've spoken about Derek Riordan on this show before. All the talent that you could hope for in a footballer, pure natural talent, bit of a head's gone. So what was he? What did you make of Riordan? How talented was he?
He left the first time just before I signed. So I think he moved across to Celtic in 2006. I think it was a week before I signed. So I never got to know him from the first time round. But then when he came back, I got along with him really well. Good guy, real Hibs fanatic. Really wanted to do well. Obviously, he'd made some money at Celtic, but he was just a down-to-earth guy. And people say they're a headstrong lunatic, but he never come across like that to me. We get along really well. We still get along really well. He's doing a little bit now. I think he's doing a little bit agency work or something for someone, or his own company. I bumped into him 2 years ago when we did a charity event up at Hibs. And, he's great. We get along really well. And I think a lot of the stuff that's put out there about him is so far from the truth. It's unnecessary at times. But I got along with him. I thought he was a great guy.
Right.
So much talent, man. Unbelievable ability on the ball, man. He was like,
honestly,
you must have seen him at Celtic a lot, too. Know what I mean?
Aye. Every time he came on, you felt as if he was going to score a goal. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I think it was just a clash of personalities between himself and Gordon Strachan, probably along the same lines as a few of the players and John Collins. Like Griffiths as well. Aye. But like I said, a phenomenally talented footballer. Just didn't seem to click. I don't know what it was, man. Strachan's got a few sins to answer for, right enough. But
maybe Derek would probably cater for this type of manager now, because they're all man managers now, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Aye.
You do it my way, no way. It's because I think Derek doesn't go down them lines. The man managers, like Sir Tony Mowbray at the time, who was a fantastic man manager, that they would probably, that kind of mould would get probably the best out of them.
So you're coaching now, Middlesbrough, Rob. Have you ever thought about getting into management up here? Have you ever applied for any jobs up in Scotland? Because the Scottish game obviously been up here.
Well, I did when I went to Doncaster, I got the player manager role, and we actually won League One on the final day, in the last minute, promoted to the Championship. So I've done the management side of it, which is great, and it's what I want at that present moment in time. It's what I wanted to do. Right now, do I want to become a manager? I don't know. Do I want to coach? Most definitely.
Aye.
I've said it many times. I coach not because Rob Jones wants to coach. I coach because I want to pass on my knowledge and influence to other people. And I want other footballers that I coach to have the possibility and the opportunity to have what I had. Because I had the best job in the world. There's no question about it. It is the best job in the world. You get paid very handsomely for it. But I also hold my hands up and say I would have done it for free, because it's just ingrained in you. It's what every young boy wants to do. So for me, if I can influence a group, a club, an individual, that's all that matters to me. Whether it's at the moment I'm with the Middlesbrough under 14s, I'd love to go 18s, 23s, first team at some point. I would love to, but that's in the future, and who knows what's around the corner in football. It changes every day. So for me to say, right, I want to be a manager, I want to do this, it's pigeonholing myself. So I'm open to anything, as long as I think I can go in and be a positive influence on the club, on the surroundings, and on the individuals. Then yeah, I'm interested. And if someone feels that I can come and do a job for them, then great.
You come across as a bit of Intelligent big fella.
Mate,
No
I was legitimately about to say the exact same thing there. I was like, you speak really well.
Aye, like I can imagine you know something for any shit in the dressing room. If somebody starts saying any carry on, I can imagine you being like, "Oh, we've got the best fucking job in the world here. Get your act together. Get your shit together now."
Well, you look at the facade of the bald head and the nose that's splattered all over my face, and the fact that I'm 6'7" and I shout. That is a perception that probably helped me in my playing times, but probably maybe a difficult one when I'm in the coaching surroundings. But no, like most people, I had that switch, and unfortunately, that fuse is very short.
Same as me.
It is. It is. It's very short, and I know what I want. And if I see that things aren't being done properly, then I air my views. And sometimes that makes me pin people up. That sometimes it makes me have a scuffle, have an argument. I don't care. I know what I want, and hopefully I know how to get it and the right way of getting it and the right way of moving around it. But if someone's standing in my way, then you're in trouble.
So what you're trying to tell me here is, thank fuck you never managed Derek Riordan.
No, I'd have loved it managing Derek. Like I said earlier, we got along really well. And no, he's one of those footballers. I came across a boy when I was in the 23s at Doncaster called Liam Mandeville, who's at Chesterfield at the moment, and he's from my neck of the woods, and he's a player that you just don't coach. You just let him go and play. Mm-hmm. That's in the same mould as Derek, because Derek just wanted to play, just wanted to go and score goals, just wanted to run around, was delighted to be there. And when you put limits on these people, it takes away their individual qualities and special talents that they have. Right. So for me, Derek was in the same mould as Liam Mandeville. Just let him play. Let him go and cause chaos.
So, as I said earlier, you speak really well, and you mentioned that you'd been working for Hibs TV. So, if the coaching thing doesn't work out for you, then there might be a future in punditry. But I take it you've watched a lot of Hibs this season. How do you think they're doing under Jack Ross? Personally, I think that they're having a great season so far. They've
started really well. It was a disappointing game against Aberdeen. They just couldn't break them down in the second half. It was tough for them. And Aberdeen, you've got to doff your cap to them, because they've been there, done it before. They went 1-0 up away from home, and they just shut up shop and said, basically, go on and break us down. And Hibs on that day just couldn't do it. But then they bounced back really well against St Mirren last week, and then they've obviously got Rangers this weekend, which is going to be a toughie. But no, I think if you'd have said, what was it? It's 5 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. From the first 7 games, you'd have taken that with both hands without a shadow of a doubt, sitting second in the table. What we don't want is another season from like last year. So the longer you can stay up as high as possible, the better for the football club. And no, he's got them playing some really good players there, really good players. Back four is really strong and solid. The keeper looks really good, big Marciano. So no, it was good. It impressed me on that day, other than the result.
We were talking about that earlier, weren't we, Stephen? We were saying how the Hibs front line could really cause Rangers problems this weekend. Deutsch and Nesbitt, great players.
The boy Nesbitt, he was in the studio with me because he was injured. But I've seen him. He scored again the other night when he came back. So he came across as a kid who was just desperate to play and desperate to do well. And those ingredients when you're a footballer are vital.
Definitely, man. Brilliant, Rob. Well, Rob, every week on this show we do a 90-second football daft quiz. You up for it?
It's nothing like your first quiz, is it?
No.
No. No, mate, it's not that, mate. We always do it right. So we always put our guest football knowledge to the test with our 90-second football quiz. And we've got a new leader as John Sutton, scored 15. He's top of the league at the moment. And we've got Mark Wilson and Keith Lasley tucked in behind with 14, while the good doctor Kenny Duker and Kevin Harper just behind with 13. We've also got fellow Hibbies, Ian Murray there as well. He's on 7. And your old gaffer, Mixu Patalainen's on 3. With Falkirk manager David McCracken still at the bottom with 1. Is there anybody on that list you want to beat, Rob?
Just get me above mid. That'll do me. That'll do me.
Cool. Right, so we've got 90 seconds on the clock. You can't pass. You must give an answer. You ready, producer John, with the time? Yeah, right. Your time starts now, Rob. Who currently manages Airdrie?
Mix of Fatland.
Which keeper did St Mirren sign on an emergency loan from Hearts?
Zahal or Zamal or something like it's called.
Who do Hibs face this weekend?
Rangers.
How many goals did you score for Hibs?
14, I think it was.
What Scottish club has Charlie Adam just signed for?
Dundee.
Who plays their home games at Galabank?
St Mirren.
Davy Irons is the current manager at what club?
Airdrie.
What town do East Fife play in?
Stirling.
In what year were you voted Doncaster Player of the Year?
2012.
Who did Chelsea sign Kai Havertz from?
By Leverkusen.
Scott Booth is the manager of what women's team?
Hearts.
What team are nicknamed the Spiders?
Livingston.
In what minute did you score your League Cup final goal?
26.
What Scottish team have had 3 players test positive for COVID?
St Mirren.
Time.
Oh, I started the question, so I'll finish, John. Gareth Bale is close to signing for which Premiership club?
Tottenham.
There we go. Some dodgy questions in there, producer John.
John, the answer that you've got there for that COVID one, St Mirren did have 3 players tested positive as well, didn't they?
Aye.
They did. Do you know what? I'll give you that then. I'll give you that. Hamilton was the answer we were looking for. I should have clarified that a bit more because the whole St Mirren squad was basically tested positive. But we'll go through the wrong answers, Rob. It's your old mucker Ian Murray, who's manager at Airdrie at the moment. You apparently scored 12 goals for Hibs. Is that right or wrong? Because we asked this.
That's wrong.
That's wrong. So 40.
If you got that off Wikipedia, John, sometimes they don't put the
cup goals,
friendlies and all that in it. They kind of don't take that into consideration, don't they? No.
And they only count league goals. They don't count cup goals.
Right, we'll add that to the points then. Galabank is a home to Aneth Athletic. We've got our standard Stennismuir question in there. So Davy Irons is the current manager of Stennismuir. East Fife playing Methil. Doncaster Player of the Year 2013, Rob. It was 2012-2013 season.
Oh, come on, it's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
You've got to give that one, John, for fuck's sake.
The question is in what year? It wasn't 2012 the year.
Which season did you win the league? You wouldn't say 2013. You say 2012-2013.
That's right.
He's right, John.
He's 6'7". I'm not arguing. It's another point for Rob there. Scott Booth, the manager of Glasgow City. The Spiders are called. It's Queen's Park. He scored your League Cup final goal in the 28th minute.
No, it didn't go in the 28th minute.
According to the BBC Sports, it was the 28th minute.
Rubbish. 26th it was.
Right, okay, that's another point for Rob.
Wait a minute, we've got to draw the line somewhere. Somebody's going to come on and just say, no, every question I gave you was right.
You are 6'7" centre half.
Listen, I'd argue with old Nick, mate. I don't give a fuck.
Right. Okay, I'm giving the point to Rob.
Okay.
Right, we'll put an asterisk next to the score because he's hard, and we'll write hard as fuck. So we're going to give you 9 points, Rob. 9 points.
I'll take that.
That's good, mate.
I'll take that.
Well,
9 points, not bad at all.
John, what height are you?
6'2".
Oh, come on, John. I mean, it's not me and fucking Tolkien shite ourselves for Rob. No, I mean,
We've got a wrestler on the programme as well. I mean,
I wouldn't fuck with him.
Right, there you are.
Rob, thanks very much for taking time to come on and join us, mate. It's been great chatting to you.
No, it's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Rob. Cheers for
Cheers,
coming
Rob.
on.
Thanks very much, mate.
Audio Frontier.